Yes, we can.
Good. Well, I want to welcome you all here today. This evening, we're going to talk about essential oils for loss and grief.
And do you want to record this, Vicki?
I have started the recording already.
Yay. I love the recordings because then you can go back and listen to them again.
Well, do you go back and listen?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's good to hear. So we all go through periods of grief and loss in our lives. And when thinking about grief and loss, you may equate it with the death of a partner or a relative or a beloved family pet. But there are many events in your life where you experience loss. And some examples can be loss of a job or a career, the loss of your home. You go through a relationship breakup or a divorce. You may face a loss of identity due to maybe an amputation of a limb, or your children growing up and leaving home. You may also grieve the loss of a dream that can never come true. So essential oils can provide a great sense of support and relief when we are grieving and dealing with loss. Despite what some may think, there is not one oil that works for all grief and for everyone. Essential oils will not cure the grief, but can impact the mood so that the emotions can be dealt with and their impact lessened. So I'm going to show you a list of essential oils from particular parts of the plants and how they can help in the grieving or the transitioning period. Now, I do just want to mention, just briefly, the medical disclaimer. So just so you know, the information presented here is for informational and personal use only and should not be assumed or taken as medical advice. So these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. So we're hoping that you'll gather from this some emotional support that can come from the plants and the oils. So the first oil I'm going to talk about, and I've learned something during the course of my research, is that I've been pronouncing this plant, this flower, inappropriately for a long time. So the flower I'm talking about is ylang-ylang. So that's the correct way to say it.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and just so you know that on the slide, I'm going to be showing pictures of where these oils come from, the parts of the plants and the trees and such. And also on each slide, there is, research that's been done on this particular oil. So it's just good to know that it has been evaluated in different ways. So when do we use it? So to use flower oils, this is part of the flower oil family. So when you need to get out of a dark place, the sweet scent of flower oil can help you get there. So generally, we always think of lavender as, great emotional balancer. And I recommend that as a great oil to start with. But I decided to talk about ylang-ylang because it's in every oil blend of the Young Living Feelings Kit. So Young Living has a kit set up for feelings. And it has 6 oils in that, and every one of them has ylang-ylang in it. So I just thought that was a good one to start with. So this oil, the health benefits of this oil can be attributed to its properties as an antidepressant, an antiseborrheic, an antiseptic, an aphrodisiac, a nervine, and a sedative substance. It can also lower your blood pressure. One of the oldest known medical properties of ylang-ylang is that it fights depression and relaxes the body, thereby driving away anxiety, sadness, and chronic stress. It also has an uplifting effect on the mood and induces feelings of joy and hope. It may be an effective treatment for those undergoing a nervous breakdown and acute depression after a shock or an accident. So if I can just ask, I'm either going to, maybe, can everyone, are you able to mute your phones or your screen for temporarily?
Sure.
Just so, and then if you want to ask anything, just bring yourself back on so we don't have any background noise. Thank you all.
How do we do that?
There should be a part that shows mute and unmute if you look at your picture. No? Okay, let me see if I can do that. Okay, I'll mute everybody if I can, okay? So those are muted. Okay, I also see that we have Linda here. So welcome, Linda. I didn't see you before. So our next,
I see the mute and the unmute now.
okay. Okay, thank you. So I'm going into what are called resin oils. So frankincense is a resin oil, as is myrrh, which means that if you look at the slide, you can see a man cutting into the tree trunk, and you can see dripping from it is the resin. And that's how frankincense is collected. So resins, when you're feeling wounded or beaten up, resins have properties to heal physical cuts. So it heals physical as well as emotional. And historically, resins are used in meditation practices and rituals. Frankincense is a woody, spicy fragrance. And the burning of frankincense is really synonymous with religious ceremony around the world and commonly used, as I said, in meditative practices. Many believe the resins inspire purification and centering of the mind, body, and spirit. Its balancing and purifying properties are also useful for people addressing psychological and physical issues. The stabilizing properties of frankincense are useful internally to heal a range of physical ailments and release emotional issues that may be underlying physical symptoms, and is beneficial for bringing individuals to a state of wholeness. So when inhaled, frankincense oil has been shown to reduce heart rate and high blood pressure. It has anti-anxiety and depression reducing abilities, but unlike its prescription medications, it does not have negative side effects or cause unwanted drowsiness. So, and if anyone has any questions along the way, just unmute yourself and please ask questions as I move forward. I'm moving now into citrus oils. So those, orange, lemon, bergamot are all citrus. So when citrus oils are used when you need to inject an uplifting and refreshing approach to life and help heal a dark and heavy feeling, the cloud of dread or hopelessness that often is attached with grief. So these oils are good for letting go phase and releasing your anxious feelings. So bergamot is a plant that produces a type of citrus fruit, as you can see here. It's defined as a hybrid between a sour orange and a lemon, or it's really like a mutation of a lemon. Bergamot is commonly found in Earl Grey tea and has a distinctive floral taste and aroma. This oil is calming and is often used to treat depression by providing energy. However, it can also help with insomnia and induce relaxation and reduce agitation.
Did you know it's in Lady Grey tea, even more concentration than Earl Grey?
Ah, so do you drink Lady Grey?
Love Lady Grey tea. It's
You love it? Your favorite? Oh, okay. I didn't know that, So it's also been proven to reduce corticosteroid response to stress. Now, this is in rats. And in another study they conducted in 2011, it hypothesized that applying the blended essential oil that includes bergamot to participants in this trial, that it helped with their depression and anxiety. Now, what they did was they blended bergamot and lavender. So that's probably a great combination to try. So any questions on bergamot? Except we know it's in Lady Grey tea now. Moving on to the woodsy oils. So that could be cedar wood and sandalwood. And you would use woods oils when you need something to help you feel strong and maintain your core strength and hold it all together. So you look at the strength of those trees. It just exudes what comes from that tree. So this oil is extracted from the wood pieces of the cedar tree. And there's 4 species of cedar trees, which are all considered to be timber evergreen conifers belonging to the cedrus family. So aromatherapy is the act of using essential oils to enhance psychological and physical well-being. And a study conducted with animal subjects found that cedarwood oil has marked sedative effects. This is why you may want to try it if you're having difficulties with sleep. I use cedarwood many nights before I go to bed. I usually take a drop and put it on just the crown of my head, the top of my head, and a little bit of the back of my neck. But you could also diffuse it in your room before going to sleep. And it could really be very helpful. And I love that woodsy smell. But because cedar wood essential oil is a sedative, it has the power to relieve tension and stress that can negatively affect your health. It has a soothing and calming effect on the mind. It reduces inflammation and muscle pain. It minimizes skin irritation. So there was a study done, just published in 2017, that demonstrates that the scent of cedar wood essential oil, which contains cedrol, C-E-D-R-O-L, can promote sleep by increasing parasympathetic activity and increasing the serotonin production. So there's reasons why it helps us sleep. This is vetiver, and vetiver is a root oil. So the vetiver itself is a grass. So you can see the top part of that picture where the grass is coming out, but the oil is taken from the roots, is extracted from the roots.
Question, what if you're allergic to grasses?
Well, we don't know if you're allergic to vetiver itself. And
Right.
the only thing I would suggest is to do a small little testing of it,
Okay.
to try it. And you would do that. You could certainly smell it, see how you react to that. You could take a little bit of the vetiver and mix it with a carrier oil and just test it maybe on the bottom of your feet, someplace, and just see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing. And it may be interesting to see because it comes from the root and not from the upper part of the grass. That may not have the same impact.
Right, because it's like a pollen thing, the allergy. So you don't know that the root is going to be the same thing.
Right. And I like vetiver. Vetiver is great also for sleep. So vetiver has been used traditionally in medicine in South Asia, West Africa for thousands of years. It's native to India, and both its leaves and roots have wonderful uses. So it's known as a sacred herb, and it's valued because it has uplifting and soothing and healing, properties. Traditionally, vetiver oil has been used in aromatherapy for relaxation and alleviating emotional stress, panic attacks, trauma, anxiety, insomnia, hysteria, and depression. Boy, we covered that one. Okay. A 2015 study studied the effects of vetiver as a tool that helps with anxiety and the neurological actions in the central amygdaloid nucleus. So that area of the brain connects with the brainstem area that controls the expression of our innate behaviors. It's responsible for the perception and results of emotions, such as changes in heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration. And there was a study done by, there's a Dr. Terry Friedman who, I know Lily and I know of him, but he did a study and he found that vetiver helped with ADD and ADHD. So just an interesting side.
Really? ADD and ADHD?
HD, yeah. So vetiver is a nice oil. It's a very root, earthy smelling oil. Not everybody may like the way it smells, but I don't have any problem with it. But so it's something to look into if you know anyone with those issues.
Yeah.
Vicki, can I, it's difficult to diffuse, right? Because it's a thick.
Yeah, I don't usually diffuse vetiver. Lily, can you unmute yourself and tell us if you ever tried diffusing it?
Hi, Vicki. Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to unmute. I never have, no.
Right, yeah.
But if I did, I would be likely to mix it with something else. Some, a top note, like maybe a flower, or a citrus.
Oh, in order to diffuse it, right. So it would cut down some of that thickness from it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I have tried diffusing vetiver and it didn't work.
So does it probably just stays on top of the water?
Right, it stays on top of the water.
Yeah.
And it
I
is.
think it's a little too heavy, maybe, and
Mm-hmm.
and it has that kind of feel to it that wouldn't diffuse well. That's why I would mix it with something lighter. Yeah.
But it
So
has.
how would you use it then?
I would apply it.
Again?
Yeah, I would apply it to my body directly. I mean, I would inhale it. I could certainly put it in the palms of my hands and rub them together and do a deep inhalation. That's another way to get that aroma into your system. But I would probably dilute it with a little carrier oil and just, apply it to my wrists or bottom of feet.
What about for kids?
What age group? If they're older than a certain age, I don't see where there's a problem to use vetiver,
Oh,
and I would dilute it.
under 10.
Under 10, but above 3, something like that. Because,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like babies, I wouldn't.
Over, like, yeah, over 5, under 10.
Yeah, I would dilute it the same way and dilute it with a carrier oil and apply it to the bottom of their feet, probably. How about you, Lily?
Oh, for children, yeah,
Yeah,
always
that's-
with the carrier oil.
Yeah, always with the carrier oil and apply it that way.
Yeah,
And let them inhale it. They could certainly breathe it in.
yeah.
So Vicki, my other experience with vetiver
Mm-hmm.
is that it now instantly, because my body is familiar with the fragrance, it instantly brings it to a place of calm.
The minute you smell it.
The minute I smell it, and I actually, I forgot about it. So this is such an interesting reminder about how I enjoy that. But it is a strong oil.
It is a strong oil. I really like using it. And I think what happens with you, Irma, and that it instantly works for you, is the memory. You know,
Yes.
it's in your limbic system. And
Mhm.
as soon as you smell it, that memory comes and you relax instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's great. So,
Um,
you know,
I'd just like to say that vetiver is one of the oils that I love to use at night.
Mhm.
You know, especially if I've had a day of a lot of mind chatter,
Mhm.
and I'm having to just really relax myself into sleeping. And I'd like to mix it with coconut oil and just rub it over my solar plexus area, and then inhale it. And it's just wonderful. I feel that every time, like it's my bridge, you know, to get to cold and good rest to sleep.
Yeah, so putting it over your solar plexus, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you could do that as well for a child, as long as you dilute it a little bit with the carrier oil. Even a 1-to-1 dilution would be fine. Okay. So when vetiver was, it was in another study, it was given to rats, it altered their neuronal activation from stress. In fact, it has the same impact as diazepam, which I don't know if anyone knows, it's a medication that treats anxiety and muscle spasms and seizures and other medical conditions. So it works in a similar way. And you don't have to buy the medication. Okay, now we're moving on. These are called leaf oils, and fitting into that category could be basil and mint and peppermint and spearmint and eucalyptus. And I just decided to choose rosemary. And I just love the picture of seeing the rosemary blooming and blossoming. So for the leaf oils, when you feel that you need to breathe in new life, leaves are the respiratory system of the plant. Sometimes colds and respiratory problems manifest themselves from leftover emotions that we need to get out of our system. So just a thought of how certainly our emotions, we know, impact our physicality and our physical health. So rosemary essential oil is steam distilled from the leaves, and rosemary bush belongs to the mint family. And it helps to overcome mental fatigue. It improves clarity and focus. Rosemary has been extensively used since ancient times for a variety of purposes. The Romans gave special importance to the rosemary plant and used it frequently in religious ceremonies. The health benefits of rosemary essential oil made it a favorite of Paracelsus, a renowned German-Swiss physician and botanist who made significant contributions to the understanding of herbal medicine during the 16th century. He valued rosemary oil because of its ability to strengthen the entire body. And he correctly believed that rosemary oil had the ability to heal delicate organs such as the liver, brain, and the heart. So going through emotional issues and loss and grief, it's impacting our body, and rosemary is something that can help you as your overall system.
And that's one of the oils that you use when you do the raindrop technique, right, rosemary?
That is one of the oils in raindrop.
Yeah.
And rosemary is also very good for your hair. Has anyone ever tried it? It's good to rub into your scalp before you go to bed. So apart from its relaxing nature of aromatherapy and the general inhalation of rosemary oil, it's been proven to decrease the level of cortisol in the saliva. And cortisol is one of the main stress hormones that are released during our fight or flight response of the body to stress. We know that excess cortisol in the blood that may occur due to chronic stress can wreak havoc on our bodies, including its hormonal balance and the efficiency of the metabolism. There was a study done in 2007 that inhaling rosemary oil and lavender oil for 5 minutes significantly reduced the levels of cortisol in the test subject's saliva, which could decrease the inherent dangers of chronic stress. So that's be a nice combination to diffuse in the house as well. Questions on rosemary? Okay. We're going to move on to the cone oils. So fitting into cones would be cypress and white pine. So the cones serve as a symbol of enlightenment, and oils from a cone can be used when you want to connect with what is lost and help you let go. So cypress essential oil is obtained from the needle-bearing tree, and it comes from the branches. So they take it out of the branches itself. It's carnivorous and a deciduous tree. It's an evergreen with small, rounded, and woody cones, and it has scale-like leaves and tiny flowers. Cypress oil has sedative effects, and it induces a calm and relaxed feeling when used aromatically or topically. It is also energizing, and it stimulates feelings of happiness and ease. This can be particularly helpful if you're undergoing emotional stress and having trouble sleeping, or you've experienced a recent trauma or a shock.
It seems weird to me that it's sedative and energizing at the same time.
Well, as we've talked in some other talks about the adaptogenic ways of these oils, many of them adapt to what you need at the time. So an oil can be both energizing at some moments, and it can be sedative at others. So it's really a fascinating part of how these oils work.
Yes.
So, I mean, a nice way to do this is to add this to a bath, and a lot of the other oils could also be added to bath at night. If you're going to take a bath and add any of the oils, add those to the bath salts, not directly into the water itself, so that when you add the bath salts with the oils, it disperses so much better and it's a much nicer effect. It's also good to diffuse cypress at night beside your bed. It can help restlessness and symptoms of insomnia. So there's another oil that helps with sleep. So those were the 7 oils that I chose to talk about. So how do we use them? We can diffuse them. We can make many of them into mists or sprays. I've done that where I take, a glass bottle, put a few drops of the oil and some water. You can shake it up and spray it when you need it. You can just spray it around in the air if you don't have a diffuser with you. So, a small bottle can be carried with you at times. Foot, hand, or body massage. If you like massages and you go to a therapist, and if they don't use oils, you could always bring your favorite oil with you and ask them to use that during the massage. Baths, as I said, in a meditation practice. I don't know if anyone here meditates, but it's lovely to either diffuse while you're meditating or breathe in just before you begin your meditation practice. So I want to have this quote from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and I don't know if she's certainly done a lot of research and written many books about grief. But the most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of those depths. So just want to add that I think essential oils can be part of finding your way out of those depths.
Yes, Kubler-Ross is definitely one of the defining people who started grief therapy for people.
Yes. So she's certainly a well-known, and this is certainly ways you could look at her five components of grief.
Right.
But the oils could certainly be helpful in dealing with any of these issues. So I'm going to start. Hello, everyone. I came back.
Yeah, we did.
So do we have any takeaways from today, or anyone would like to ask any questions or comments?
I never really thought about these as essential oils for grief, but in a way it makes sense. Mostly my problem is now is that there's so many things is trying to figure out like how many things do you use at once, and that's the hard part for me right now. But and trying to figure out like you order something and then it doesn't smell like you think it would, and what can you mix it with, and like this is good for sleep and that's good for sleep and this is good for sleep. So do you alternate, or do you pick your favorite and stick to it, or
I think it's good to stick with your favorite, but alternate occasionally if you use the same thing over and over again. I just think it's good to switch them up every so often and not use the same one all the time. It is hard because unless you're able to smell a sample, you don't really know if you're going to like it.
like I forget what I just got, but I smelled it and was like, oh, I'm gonna have to ask Vicki what to mix with it. But I don't even remember which oil it is now, and I'm not home, so I can't look at it.
Okay, but when you can, just look at it and let me know. I can make a recommendation as to what you could add to that.
If I just mix it with something else, it'll be better.
Yeah, sometimes you want a different note, like the high note, as Lily was talking about. There's high notes and there's lower notes and middle notes, and we could probably reduce what you don't like about that particular oil, and maybe still get the same impact and the benefit of that oil.
Right.
So Vicki,
and I'm trying to remember, I ordered carrot oil and I'm trying to remember why.
The carrot seed oil?
Yeah.
Lily,
I read something.
It's really good for skin.
It's good for skin.
Maybe
yes.
maybe that was it, because I have so many skin issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lily, I know, likes using it and has used it in the past.
I also use it with animals.
Yes.
And also with myself. It's very good for supporting the liver, and with animals or people that are sort of, run down or weak or maybe elderly or kind of frail.
Really?
It works with, because it's a very deep kind of root. It's a very earthy. It kind of has that signature to it.
How would you use it with an elderly person like that?
I'm sorry?
How would you use it?
With an elderly.
How would you use it? I would probably mix it with a carrier oil and rub their feet. Massage their feet. Yeah, the feet are always just a lovely place for, elderly, frail, sick, because it's just a nice thing to have that touch and have your feet touched and massaged. And but carrot seed oil it's kind of, a lot of different uses, and it's in a lot of the blends. I think it's in the Juvaflex blend, which
it's good for the liver.
Which is to support the liver as well. So carrot seed is really good for livers.
And Vicki, I know when you were talking about one of the leaf oils, you mentioned eucalyptus, but like several eucalyptus.
There's lots of different eucalyptus oils. So generally use Eucalyptus radiata, but they all have different components as to what they'd be good for. So let me know or what you're interested, what the need is, and I can recommend which one would be the best one to have.
Okay.
Irma, I thought you were going to say something before.
I was going to say a couple of things. I was having a cup of tea in a tea shop today, and she was talking about this oolong tea had nodes of cotton candy and a couple of other ingredients that I thought, how odd.
Cotton candy.
Yeah, cotton candy. But she was talking exactly as you just said, the high and the low nodes.
Notes. N-O-T-E-S.
Oh, it is notes. Okay.
Notes.
And I thought she was saying nodes.
Yeah.
Notes. And when I sipped the tea, of course, I didn't think I was in Coney Island and eating cotton candy and like, why am I doing this? But I thought the blend was so mature and so significant. So having said that, when I think about the oils and I think about the combination and when I'm considering using an oil straight or even with a vetiver to put it with I would probably use it with a jojoba oil. So the coconut oil might be a little too strong for me. But that aspect of considering the roots as I'm trying to deal with a grieving issue, which in my experience took me far too long to get to the other side of the loss of my sister. I mean, that was just my own personal experience. And if I had, I mean, we all do it at our own level and our own speed, and it comes, it has its own rhythm to it. But I never even thought about using the essential oils during that period.
Well, didn't you use any of the emotional blends that we have here, or you weren't using it for that purpose?
No, I was trying to forgive my sister.
Right. Okay.
So I was spending a lot of time with that one, and writing and meditating and journaling. And but going back to the whole aspect as you describe them and as you show the pictures, that was just so helpful to me to see where they come from, and that it's nature. Now I know that the essential oils are coming from nature, but to see where the frankincense comes from, the resin like not gelling, but coagulating from the dripping, and then the little crystals that were at the end that were being shown, and then to diffuse those. And, it brought me right back to the rituals of the Catholic Church when we're at a morning ceremony, or I want to say morning ceremony, and the priest is putting them.
So it's funny that you say that, because I know like they use like in the Catholic Church when I was young, it used to make me sick at the funeral services when they did that. I mean, sick. So I think frankincense was one of the big ones that they used.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that might not be the one for me, but
right.
But
well, and it could have been the heaviness of it, because, and we do it here. We have a frankincense burner where we take the resin itself, put it in the burner, and it smells like you're in a ceremony when you walk into the house. But it can be really overwhelming. So you only burn it for a certain amount of time, and then I wouldn't keep it on.
Right.
Well, and also it's a different quality, the smoke, as compared to the oil.
To the oil, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a different quality. Yeah.
Right. So
it could also be that I got sick because the smell combined with the trauma. Because those were traumatic experiences.
Right.
As a child, not only as a child, but as an adult, and then having to smell it again. And so I feel like I feel like it might have to do, maybe not so much with the smell, but the trauma of smelling it again. Just like after the first time I ever walked into a flower shop after my father died when I was 19. I thought I was going to pass out just from smelling flowers. So, so I think it has to do with the memory of what was going on.
Absolutely. And scent brings that memory back instantly.
Yeah.
So Terry, in the kit, have you ever opened your frankincense bottle?
I did open it.
And how did you feel?
I was not that crazy about it.
Okay.
But I didn't really do anything with it. I just sort of took a sniff, and then I closed it back up.
You may have a fear of it too. So
right, and that's probably true. Actually, it's probably true. And I don't know. Maybe if I mixed it with something that it mixed with that made it not smell like a Catholic church during a funeral, I would do better.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I never really thought about, I mean, I know that I've always known that smells, I mean, and, I had the trauma of death when I was younger, but also after my first husband died, I was 33, and I worked with a grief therapist who quoted Kubler-Ross a lot, and I worked with a children's group for a long time, but there was none of this talk about the oils and everything. So I learned a lot about grief and about all the process of it, but this is like an interesting new twist.
And this could be.
And I've had trauma since then, like in the last few years, when my brother, like the person who was talking about her sister, like it took so long. My brother died in 2014, and I feel like I'm not even close to, I mean, it seems like it's almost the most traumatic thing that ever happened to me. Even my husband and everything. It's been really difficult.
But each person and each reaction needs to have the time that you need to take. There's no timeline, you know.
Yeah, it's true, Vicki.
That I should, okay, it's long enough, I should be over this.
Right.
Doesn't work that way. Sort of would be nice if we could say, okay, I can stop now.
Yeah.
But it's also, you know, empowering to know now that there are things, you know, there are plant essences and oils that, you know, can help.
Can help.
Not
It will help,
yeah.
you know, at night with anxiety or something.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention something about the feelings kit, because Vicki, you had mentioned it.
Yes.
And Irma, you mentioned something about forgiveness, and there is a blend in the feelings kit of forgiveness. It's called forgiveness. There are 6 different blends: harmony, forgiveness, inner child, present time, release,
and valor.
And the valor.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention this kit because it was the very first kit. My very first experience with essential oils was from this kit, and it was during a time in my life when I was having to be a caretaker for my mother and father, and then my mother dying suddenly. And I mean, it's just a really very difficult time in my life when the oils came in. My friend actually just sent me the kit, the feelings kit, and it was the blend in the feelings kit, present time, which really was the one for me. I mean, you were asking about which one should you use and all of that. Well, it's kind of like they'll tell you if you listen, you know, and if you use them and just know your experiences with them, it becomes really obvious, you know. And neroli is a citrus that's in present time. It's an aspect of the orange plant, and it was the one that was like the overriding scent in present time that just sort of really elevated my soul. And it was just like these angelic hands reaching out and just lifting me up. It was just so beautiful. I still so love this blend, present time. But I just wanted to mention this kit in terms of healing, and I used this kit through that whole time, and then after my parents passed as well. It was a great comfort to me. The inner child was a great comfort.
And I really like citrus, so that might be something for me to look at.
The present time. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was beautifully said, Billy. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So, are there any other comments or questions before we close this evening?
It was great, Vicki. Really fabulous.
Yes, thank you, Vicki.
Thank you. And the next time, Terry, I think you requested skin.
Yes.
Skin. That'll be our next one. How's that?
Cool. Yeah.
This will be some great oils. Now I may have to add carrot oil to that one.
Yeah.
I think I read something somewhere, and then I ordered it. By the time it came, my brain was so addled from work that I have to look up what made me order that. So. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry your brain is addled from work. We'll have to have a private conversation about that at another time. But thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. And
thank you, Vicki, for doing this.
Sure.
Thank you for the research, Vicki. It's so great that you're adding this substantial research, because, you know, the idea is that this is new, you know, aromatherapy is getting to be all the rage now, but and thankfully so, but, you know, it's important for us to remember the history that this is an ancient modality. And then this research is so beautiful to really substantiate, you know, the benefits that they can offer us now. Okay. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you all, and I hope you'll have a wonderful evening. And take an oil before you go to bed. Apply it somewhere, and I hope you all
I
sleep
know.
through the night. So,
Thank you, Vicki.
Okay, thank you.
okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
everybody.